Look a second. Nah, for sure. Shoot, that's about all you can do, man. I mean, in certain settings, though, bro, keep it a bean with you, man. You ain't really supposed to be necessarily wearing your faith on your sleeve anyway. You have to use wisdom of when to and not to say certain things. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really no definitive playbook on how to do it. You have to weigh out time and circumstance and who you talking to. You know what I'm saying? And then let that flow. Cause your deeds itself can be the testimony, but you know, the workplace ain't really the place for that. You know what I'm saying? So, cause you know that's a surefire way to. End of the day, it's just inappropriate. I ain't gonna say it's inappropriate. It's unprofessional. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when you start interjecting your personal stuff on the job, and it's a job. You know what I'm saying? That's not. So yeah, you know you have to weigh and consider because you can say that to the wrong person on the job, they get offended. You know what I'm saying? And then they go on saying, "Oh, he preaching the gospel to us," and man, I just want to cook my chicken. You know what I'm saying? So same thing with politics. You know, certain stuff. You know, just is what it is. Sometimes it's just letting your behavior be what it do. But shoot, where you at with it, blood?
Where's the song going?
Yeah, we good with Psalms 1. You can come back to Isaiah 53. and 1 is fine, man.
Say, who have believed our report, and to whom is the arm of Yahuwah revealed?
Mm-hmm.
For he shall grow before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground.
So when we look at this root, we didn't finish Romans 8 and 11. You could read 8 and 10 and then read 11, I believe. So what does he mean when he's this tender root out of a dry ground? Because remember, Adam had his ground was watered. You know what I'm saying? But remember, Yahushua went in the grave with dry ground. Say mostly only questions. Word. Oh, in the gym. Yeah. Now that's different because you're dealing with your clients. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit more intimate setting. So you know that situation tends to lead to the ability to do that without offense. Go ahead.
Saying if Hamashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Ruach is life because of righteousness.
That's right.
But if the Ruach of him that raised up Yahushua from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Hamashiach from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his Ruach that dwell in you.
He'll do what? Make alive your body by the spirit that dwell in you. Oh, just programming note, if this junk go out one more time, man, it's over. You know what I'm saying? All right, go ahead. So I might move with a little bit more pace now because this junk tripping. That's Xfinity for you, though.
Okay, therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh.
Good. Come on back to Isaiah 53 and 2.
For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He has no form nor comeliness.
See, he has no what?
No form nor comeliness.
That we should.
When we see him, there's no beauty that we should desire him.
Give him form, comeliness, beauty. I know what beauty is, but I think it's Tafara, but I could be mistaken.
Form is Tawar, that is shape, form, outline, figure, appearance.
There's no figure or appearance of comeliness.
Comeliness is Hadar, ornament, splendor, honor, magnificence.
So notice, right, this ain't talking about comeliness as regards to his beauty. They didn't see any honor. There was no appearance of honor with him. Because who is him? That's the carpenter's son. We know him. You know what I'm saying? That's why I told you that a prophet is not without honor, save in his own city amongst his own kin. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're not going to see a figure or appearance of honor with this person. That'd be hard for people to accept because you have to remember, these people know you, bro. They can't see you like that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who don't know you, they'll look at you and be like, oh, man, that's an honorable dude. That's a godly man. But the people who know you, like, man, I know this nigga, man. We played ball. This nigga used to pee in the bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, bro. That's how people look at you, man. That's the one thing I told you before. Like if you deal with a woman, man, and she seen you as a simp or a sucker or a weirdo or a goofy, she ain't gonna never see you as the man you done became. She can't see that man. You know what I'm saying? Only thing she gonna see is this goofy over here. While this other woman will think this is the greatest man she ever seen in her life, because that version of you, that's the only version she ever seen. I say that because see, I'm older. Some of y'all might not have that. Like you see that with dudes who they had love for a chick when they was younger. You know what I'm saying? She ain't see him like that. Now we older. Now he a different. She want him now. But at the same token, it'd be hard for her because she want what he can provide. But when she look at him as a man, she still see that 16, 17, 18-year-old nigga when we was in school. You know what I'm talking about? And then she remember that and she be like, oh yeah, I don't want him no more. No, it's human psychology, man. It is what it is. Go ahead. Beauty.
That is moray. That is sight, appearance, vision. We got comeliness, we got handsome, we got beauty, beautiful, or fair, favored.
Now read it again. This is 53:3, Book of Isaiah.
So he is despised and rejected of men.
Oh, back it up, and that was the rest of verse 2 then.
Say, for he shall grow up before him as a tender plant and as a root out of a dry ground. He had no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him.
They didn't have any desire for him. They didn't see anything about him that was beautiful enough. And why did I mention that there? Because the characteristics. You know what I'm saying? Because this individual lady led with this is a God-fearing man. And then the other sister mentioned this is a fear of all Christians because they don't see the appearance of comeliness or honor with those intangibles. That's not beautiful to them. So they don't desire it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. This ain't about no physical stature per se. Now, some will take it into physical stature because they tell you that David was a handsome man of a beautiful countenance. You know what I'm talking about? But that's another conversation for another day. We're just talking about in the intangibles. The beauty of God, because they tell you to worship him in the beauty of Kadash. That's not something that a lot of people care for. The intangibles of godliness. Now, we can feel how we want to feel about it. I'm not here to make any statements about it. You know what I'm talking about? But we do know is this here. Is that people don't, the beauty of holiness don't do it for many people, man. It just don't. Now, some of y'all can state why you believe that is the case. But you know, go to Psalms 96, man. 96 and 6. You can make it one. Ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Say, oh, sing unto Yahuwah a new song.
Sing unto who?
Unto Yahuwah a new song. Sing unto Yahuwah all the arats. Sing unto Yahuwah Baruch his name.
That's right.
Show forth his salvation from day to day.
Declare
his esteem among your
his wonders
among all people.
For Yahuwah
is greatly
to be praised, and he's to be feared
above all gods.
For all the gods.
The nations are idols.
But Yahuwah, honor,
and majesty are before him.
Strength
and beauty are in the sanctuary.
Give
unto Yahuwah, or you kindred of the people.
Give what?
Unto Yahuwah esteem and strength.
Give what else?
Unto Yahuwah the glory due unto his name.
What you need to bring?
An offering and coming to his court.
And worship Yahuwah in what?
The beauty of Kadash.
Tell him what beauty is right there, man. And fear before him all the earth. That's how to.
Now, this is how to raw. This is decoration, beauty, honor, adornment, esteem.
Adorn yourself in holiness. You know what I'm saying? Adorn yourself in kadashness. Adorn yourself in sanctification and that which is set apart, because that's a beautiful ornament. Or adorn yourself in the Ruach HaKadosh, because this is the fine linen, clean and white, which is the righteousness of the saints, and you keep your garments always white. Hating to even have a garment stained by the flesh. You understand? So when you look at it in that aspect, that's not beautiful to people, bro. It's not. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's not to ridicule the young ladies. It just goes to show that the innate nature of godliness has been turned into something undesirable to most people. They want a form of it. They don't want the actual manifestation of it. You know what I'm saying? Because it just don't get it. It just don't get. It's not provocative. It don't get the people going. You know what I'm talking about? John 6:22.
The day following, when the people which stood on the other side of the sea saw that there was none other boat there, save that one whereinto his disciples were entered, and that Yahushua went not with his disciples into the boat, but that his disciples were gone away alone. Howbeit there came other boats from Tiberias near unto the place where they did eat bread, after the Lord had given thanks. And the people therefore saw that Yahushua was not there.
That's
Even
right.
his disciples, they also took shipping, and came to Capernaum seeking for Yahushua. When they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said unto him,
What they said?
Rabbi, when came you here?
Yahushua answered,
They then said, Truly, truly, I say unto you,
you seek me not,
because you saw the miracles,
but because
you did eat of the loaves and were filled.
labor not,
For the meat which perished,
labor not,
for the meat which perished,
labor not,
for the meat which perished,
but for the,
meat which endure unto everlasting life.
but for that meat that what?
Endure unto everlasting life.
Endure to what?
Everlasting life.
Which the son of Adam
Shall give unto you.
for him.
Have Elohim the Abba sealed.
Then they said unto him,
What shall we do that we might work the works of Elohim?
what the Lord told them.
Yahushua answered and said unto them, This is the work of Elohim.
That you do what?
Believe on him whom he hath sent.
Come back to Isaiah 55. Now, we went through all this stuff and traveled down a lot of different roads to get back to John 6, because we were talking about when he said, why do you labor for that which satisfy not? You know what I'm saying? He told them, don't labor for the meat that perish. And again, that takes us right back to labor not to be rich, cease from your own wisdom. Take us right back to you weren't made for whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? That's not what you were made for. You were made to esteem your God, to serve your God, to praise your God. That's why he said to worship him in the beauty of holiness. Like I said, I keep seeing people going back and forth lately arguing about ancestor worship and ancestor veneration. I seen another simpleton post some junk talking about y'all talking about ancestors can't worship your ancestors, yet the book of Matthew opens up with the genealogy. Like, come on with that, bro. I say that because people do that and they see something and they use that as confirmation bias, because there's no ancestor worship in Matthew. There's no ancestor worship in Luke. There's no ancestor worship in Chronicles. There's no ancestor worship in Esther. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not. So what I mean by that, the genealogies are there for a specific reason. We know that the Matthew genealogy is there to tie him to the covenant of David and Abraham. The Luke genealogy is there to tie him to Adam. Those genealogies and chronicles are really there for the explicit purpose of tying you to a Mashiach, to truth be told. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a written record of a descent. Ain't nobody sitting around here praying to Jacob. You know what I'm saying? Now, dude, like you say, they mention that, you know, hey, I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but that's Yahuwah mentioning that, because he letting you know these were my servants. But you don't read people. It's the biggest thing, even with the stuff with the food stamps. Like, you know, there be people online, niggas weird, like seeing niggas like, oh, the women gonna come back now. What you women gonna do? You niggas goofy as hell. You know what I'm saying? Because that type of thought process, they don't even come to my mind. You know what I'm saying? I ain't thinking about, oh, these women got to come back to, well, why would you want a woman who got to come fool with you because she ain't getting food stamps no more? What that say about you, bro? That says a lot about you, blood. I ain't gonna lie to you. But that's neither here nor there. And people were saying, you know, why the churches need to be feeding the people. And this is the reality of the situation. If we was back in 1st century AD, no. Them congregations, the Israelites back then, man, and the Gentiles mixed in, they would have not seen it their duty to feed all sinners all across the world, now across that country. Now, if a sinner came through and they were down bad, is they gonna send them away? Nah, they not. You know what I'm talking about? But if you think that they thought it was their duty to do for people who were outside the house because of some political machinations that were going on in Rome at that particular time, no, they wouldn't. They first concern and care would have been to those in the body who would have had that issue. That's what would have been their first priority. Like, I've seen people say, why is homeless people outside? Why they can't sleep in the church? And I get why they would say that, because they don't understand. Technically, man, that's a sanctified place of worship. Ain't nobody supposed to be sleeping in there. Because guess what? Couldn't nobody come sleep in the temple of Yahuwah if they ain't had nowhere to stay. Couldn't nobody come sleep in the synagogue if they ain't had nowhere to stay. You know where they supposed to stay at? Your house. You know what I'm talking about? That's who house they supposed to stay at if we want to keep it a buck and say what it is and say what it ain't. They supposed to stay at your house. You supposed to brought the homeless into your house. You supposed to clothe the naked. You supposed to feed the hungry. You know what I'm talking about? They not supposed to stay in the house of God, bro. They not. You know what I'm saying? And that's a hard conversation for people to have because it makes it seem like, so what's the church for? No, that's what the people for. You really think Yahuwah would have let some people who ain't had nowhere to stay in the temple, and you got whole priests in here who got houses? You got whole priests in here who got houses. And you think they supposed to stay here? A place that's sanctified for worship so this nigga can defile it and they got to re-sanctify the whole place? See, but you see how that go in that? Because people would rather push that off on the institution instead of saying, no, you the institution, you the one supposed to do that. You know what I'm talking about? Now, of course, you know, in America it's different because the church has been made into a lot of different things. And like they said, like most people said when they were screaming that 80% of food pantries are in churches. Niggas can say whatever they want to say about the Christian church, man, but them people be out there doing a lot of stuff, though. Now, they may have more resources than some Israelites had to do stuff, but they also have an extremely longer head start and being able to have that infrastructure put in place to do such things. Does that mean that you got to have a long head start to do it? No. Like I was telling you earlier, like you got WIC, and WIC was that was a Black Panthers program. You know what I'm talking about? That wasn't something the United States government came up on their own. The Black Panthers did that. So I remember Tupac saying that in the Vibe magazine, why can't the poor stay in churches? Like Christ said, the poor will always be among you. It is, because the law tell you that. He said the poor will always be with you. That's why the Lord said that. And I can understand why people in this country would say, like, why do people can't stay in churches, considering the amount of revenue that most people purport that these churches are bringing in, though in the reality, it's not all churches. You know what I'm saying? Most churches ain't bringing in a higher revenue. You got the higher end churches at the top that are skewing those numbers of the revenue that's getting brought in. You know what I'm talking about? So that's also another aspect of it, because those assemblies in first century AD and Asia Minor weren't bringing in resources like Potter's House bringing in, or Kenneth Copeland bringing in, or Joel Osteen bringing in, because I don't know the name of their churches. You know what I'm talking about? Because I would rather say the church than the individuals, because I ain't really trying to single them out. You know what I'm saying? Or what New Birth bringing in. You know, I don't know all these Christian churches like that. You know what I'm saying? You know the pastors, you can identify them because that's who you know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the first century AD, man, them people wasn't bringing no money in like that. You say, shoot, people got mad at Joel. I remember that when the hurricane came, because he didn't let them stay, because they're not supposed to stay in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason he told Timothy, you ought to know how to behave yourself in the house of God. And I know people don't want to hear that, but no, you're not supposed to be living in the sanctuary, bro. You know what I'm saying? The priest ain't supposed to be, the pastor ain't supposed to be living in there. Ain't nobody supposed to be living in there, because that's not what it's for. I don't know don't be wanting to hear that, but that's not what that building is for. That is literally, there's a reason why I tell y'all this here, man. Like, that's a sanctified place of worship, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's a way you supposed to conduct you ain't even supposed to be eating in there. You know what I'm talking about? You think you supposed to be going in the sanctuary and you ain't here eating? When they were just coming up to the mount and Moses told them, man, take your shoes off? And you think you supposed to be in here chewing victuals, my nigga? Sipping beverages? Because niggas thinking this, man, no, that's not what that's for. Because I guarantee you this here, if you notice, they didn't even worship in the temple for real. You know what I'm talking about? The people didn't even get to go inside the temple, man. I mentioned that to y'all the other day. You had the outer court, and then the inner court, and then and the people couldn't go in there, man. You think all of Israel went in the temple? You's a simpleton. You ain't been reading. That's why I say you's a simpleton. You ain't been reading. Man, the whole people couldn't go in there. Man, get Ezekiel 46:1, man, so they can see that there. Bro got Ecclesiastes 5:1 on there. Read Ecclesiastes 5:1 first. I don't say that to be disrespectful. I say that because it's a lot of things that we say because we don't be knowing the due order of things. You know what I'm talking about? Ecclesiastes 5:1.
Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil.
Do this, read it again. Keep your what?
Keep your foot when you go to the house of
Tell
Elohim.
them what keep your foot mean, man. You better guard your steps when you come in here, boy.
Keep the shamar.
Shamar regard, boy. You better guard them feet, boy. You better protect your paths when you walk in here. And he said you better be ready to what?
To hear.
Then to what?
Give the sacrifice of fools.
He said, man, you better be ready to hear that word and to make the sacrifice of a dummy. Tell them what fools mean, man.
That's concealed, a fool, a stupid fellow, a dullard, a simpleton, an arrogant one.
Don't come in here with that. What else he say?
For they consider not that they do evil.
You ain't even considering you doing evil. Now go to what that is, 1 Timothy 3:14. Again, I don't say, because I get it, right? I'm not mad at people who had that thought process. You see these big old churches, and you like, why these people can't stay in here? You know what I'm saying?
My grandma goes to that, got a whole basketball court in there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Look here, man. Ain't supposed to be no basketball. Ain't supposed to all that. Ain't supposed to be in there, man. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not ridiculing with funerals. Now, when you're dealing with funerals, you ain't even supposed to bring a dead body in there. You know what I'm saying? You got the house of praise and you have the house of mourning. You know what I'm saying? Because once you bring a dead body in the sanctuary, the whole sanctuary defiled. You know what I'm saying? Which, of course, now when we talk about what your ancestors did, they wouldn't have even thought to bring a dead body in a temple or a synagogue because they would have buried you immediately. You know what I'm saying? That custom of bringing dead bodies in churches, quote unquote, that's a Western thing. People in the East didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? They ain't bringing no dead body in the house of God. They wouldn't even consider doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's something they'd be like, oh, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? That's a Western thing. Yeah, that's a completely Western thing. Go ahead.
He said, these things write I unto you, hoping to come unto you shortly. But if I tarry long, that you may know how you ought to behave yourself in the house of Elohim.
That you ought to know how to what?
Behave yourself in the house of Elohim.
Why?
Which is the assembly of the living Elohim, the pillar and ground of the truth.
Tell him what ought to behave mean. He said he's got that's a fact. And he is the God of the living and not the dead. But it's mainly on aspect of, remember, you can't take the Passover if you came at a dead body. Now imagine you bring the dead body in the place where everybody got to come worship, and you want the presence of, you say the presence of God is. Because when 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he can't even come in that place because it's unclean. Because you just had a dead body in here. You know what I'm saying? And you talking about we finna worship God in here. Now, I don't blame people who've done it or do it because most of them don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's very few churches that's going to be like, oh, no, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because truth be told, if there was anything, they didn't even have funerals during that time period scripturally like we have. They didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they didn't do that. Let's see where the origin of funerals come from as we know it. Because funerals as we know it, that's not a Hebrew custom. Now, again, we talking about customs. So having a funeral is not a sin. It's just not necessarily the Yahudim's custom. You know what I'm saying? The same way going to a wake is not a sin. That's just not our custom. You know what I'm saying? Just like getting cremated is not a sin. It's just not our custom. Shoot, having a body at a funeral home to have a funeral in 2-3 weeks is not our custom. Because Yahudim buried people as soon as they died. Which in these days and times, to have an immediate burial, nobody gonna see the body. You can't see the body because they're not gonna embalm. You know what I'm saying? So let's see the origins of funerals, and of course, it's going to depend on the culture. Ancient Egypt had them, ancient Greece and Rome focused on public ceremonies to honor the deceased with processions, often indicative of the person's wealth and social standing. Roman funerals included the use of portraits of the deceased and hired mourners, while Greek processions were often led by female relatives who prepared the body, which sounds more like what we do in these days and times. In Egypt, the Egyptians developed elaborate rituals, mummification, placing possessions in the tomb, based on belief that these actions were necessary for a safe journey in the afterlife. The word funeral originates from the Latin word funos, which referred to both the deceased and the funerary rites themselves. The modern funeral industry began to take shape in the 19th century, particularly in America. The growth of cities led to the development of the rural cemeteries, and undertakers started offering transportation services to the gravesite. So it looks like the basis of what we see in and what's done in America seems to come from the Greeks and Romans. Every culture has a different a viewpoint, a different way of doing it.
Ritualistic.
It's basically just a ritualistic thing. Like I said, within the United States and Canada, most cultural groups and regions, the funeral rituals can be divided in three parts: visitation, funeral, and a burial service. You know, the viewing or the wake or the calling hours in Christian or circular Western custom. The body of the deceased person is placed on display in the casket. The viewing often takes place 1 or 2 evenings before the funeral. In the past, it was common practice to place the casket in the decedent's home or that of a relative for viewing. This practice continues in many areas of Ireland and Scotland. The body is traditionally dressed in the decedent's best clothes. Some people choose to be dressed more how they dressed in life, so on and so forth. So yeah, most of the things that the viewing is open casket is when the embalmed body of the deceased, either clothed or treated with cosmetics for display. All in all, however, this step is here. It is right here. However, this step is foreign to Judaism. Uh, Say I know a funeral home that turned into a church. A lot of them do that nowadays. Now it's a lot different because now a lot, at least in Jacksonville, a lot of funeral homes just do the service there if that's what you want. Mainly because of the cost that it costs to use a church, because the church ain't gonna let you use it for free, even if you was a member. Ain't that something? However, this is the step. This step is foreign to Judaism. Jewish funerals are held soon after death, preferably within a day or two, unless more time is needed for relatives to come. And the corpse is never displayed. Torah law forbids embalming, which is a little stretch because Jacob was embalmed. So there's that. Traditionally, flowers and music are not sent to a grieving Jewish family, as it is a reminder of the life that is now lost. The Jewish Shiva tradition discourages family members from cooking, so food is brought by friends and neighbors. Now that's some rabbinical stuff. The decedent's closest friends and relatives who are unable to attend frequently send flowers to the viewing, with the exception of a Jewish funeral, where flowers would not be appropriate. Donations are often, see, that's rabbinical stuff. But the part that they added right there, though, the aspect of immediate burial, you can see that in the text. Because when the Lord died, they buried him immediately. Every time you see somebody in the word die, they bury them immediately. You know what I'm saying? Because they're unclean. So they look at it as, man, I'm not, who finna sit around here with a dead body? That was abhorrent to them. Oh, no, we got to put you in the ground. You know what I'm saying? Remember how I say the earth got to be cleansed after Gog and Magog because it's unclean. There's dead bodies everywhere. So, yeah, the aspect of bringing a dead body in a church, that's a Western thing. That is not something scripturally that anybody would have done. That's not to go to Ecclesiastes 7:1. That's not to ridicule people who do it, because you're only doing what the custom is in the land that you in. You know what I'm saying? But when you just take a close exam, just like I know it's a nigga, he mad because still mad to this day because you examine the text and they tell you there's a 30-day period of mourning. Niggas think because after the 30-day period, that don't mean you don't miss your people or nothing. You got to be a damn fool. You know what I'm saying? But ain't nobody finna be walking around. If you walk around here mourning somebody for a year, you need to seek psychological help. I'm not even saying that to be funny. Because one thing for certain in life is that everything come to an end. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's gonna die. You are not guaranteed to have anybody in your life for an extended period of time. You not. That's something you gotta accept. You know what I'm saying? Your mama is gonna die. Your daddy is gonna die. God forbid your children might die before you. Because people say you should never have to bury a child. I don't know where you get that from. It's not ideal. It's not the preference. You know what I'm talking about? But I don't know where you get that from. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where you get that from. Your friends gonna pass away. Your grandparents gonna pass away. And you know why you around here sad and looking ugly like that? Because you didn't value and cherish the time you had with them. You know what I'm saying? Because if you cherish the time you had with them, you gonna mourn, but you ain't finna be mourning for 10 years. The only people I see who mourn like that, which is understandable, which I really ain't mad at them, which a lot of them probably need help because it's probably traumatic, is the parents of dead children. However the children died, whether by murder, whether by some type of disease, whatever the case may be, that especially for the mother, I understand. You know what I'm saying? And that junk weigh on them. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them need to go seek help for it too because they can't cope with it. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the capacity to deal with it. You know what I'm talking about? Because that junk can be difficult, man. You know what I'm saying? I done seen as forth as over time, not directly per se. That junk destroy marriages. You know what I'm saying? That junk can ruin close friendships because people have a hard time processing that. You know what I'm saying? When a child died. It's different when adults die. Your big grown rusted behind you around here sad for 10 years because your mama died. Nigga, how long you thought she was going to live, nigga? Of course you're going to be sad. I ain't finna be sad for 10 years. Of course you're going to miss them. Of course you're going to think about it. That's common sense. Nigga think because you mentioned somebody who done passed away, that mean you sad. Nigga, I ain't sad, nigga. Damn, I can't recall a positive interaction with somebody who ain't here no more that I got to be sad. Damn, nigga crazy. He said, let's say, damn, that made it worse. In Genesis 11, when Haran died before his father, so that it was in the beginning. Yeah, man, look, all I'm saying is that you never know when somebody gonna pass away. And I've always told you this here, man. That's why if you care about people and you love people, then cherish the time that you have with them. So when they do pass, you ain't really be mourning because you ain't really mourning for 10, 15 years because that's just really regret about what you could have did or what you didn't do or what you should have did or what you could have did. No, man. When you know that, man, you valued your people, man, and you was with your people, when they pass on, you ain't got them type of regrets. So therefore, you're going to be sad because you can't see their face for a moment. But when you reflect back on them, it ain't going to be like you in a funk for 10 years, for 3 years, for 4 years, crying and bawling your eyes out every day. Like I said, man, I give a pass to women and men. Men don't do it as often. They carry it a little different. I give pass to women who lose their children, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about young children, man. I ain't talking about you 35, 40 years old in the past. It still hurt because we got a sister just now. Her son just died. He was 35. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it sting. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different when they 35 because you've seen them come as age, but it's still going to sting. But it sting harder when they from 0 to 18. Or shoot, 0 to 22 for that matter. If they ain't even really got their life going for real, I ain't mad at no woman who like that. That's a hard thing for them to deal with. Men can't have a hard time dealing, but they carry it different. You know what I'm saying? Women are emotional by nature, so they stew on stuff like that. And it plays off in their mind, and their emotions ebb and flow. You know what I'm saying? Now, dudes just go get high, get drunk, which ain't good either. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless. Yeah, man, value your people, shoot. You know what I'm saying? I done seen some women who lost their kids, but because they valued their kids and they love their kids and they cherished every moment they had with their kids, it was difficult for them, but it wasn't as difficult as it may be for somebody else who may have not done that or did do that. Some people do that and it's just overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? It's nuance, man. It ain't no one size fit all of that, man. Some stuff just be overwhelming, man. You know what I'm saying? Just give thanks if you ain't never been in that situation and circumstance, because we ain't got no idea. You know what I'm talking about? You can't look nobody in the face who lost their child and tell them, I understand, because I damn sure don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I wouldn't pretend that I do. You know what I'm saying? Like it is, like cuz say, man, don't just age. All you can do is say, boy, I'm here for you. Like I can't go to my cousin and tell her, because that wasn't my son. That's her son. She carried that boy. She pushed him out. She was with him every day of his life. That junk hit different for her. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nothing I can say. I remember I told y'all, man, when I seen my homegirl, man, who the dude she was messing with after he killed her son, she wasn't never the same. I remember the first time I seen her after the baby died, man, she wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like she's sitting right here, but I'm looking her in her eyes, bro. She's not there. And she probably ain't never gonna be the same. Because it was somebody she chose to bring into her life, and that nigga killed her child. And then he tried to take the coward way out and shoot himself in the mouth with a flare gun, hoping that he could commit suicide when it was time for him to go to jail. But that nigga ain't died. And you know where he at right now? At the booty house, where he's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? I told you, I got a nigga I grew up with, man. That nigga killed the baby, man. He around here messing with a scallywag. She got him on stepdaddy duty while she at work. He couldn't get that baby to stop crying. And for whatever reason, he got frustrated and threw that baby up against a wall. And that baby died. He was 19 years old when he did this. And he spent damn near 30 years in prison behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she wasn't the same after that. So I get it. Hell, man, shoot. Your parents might die. You might not be the same. That don't mean you're going to be like mourning, but man, some stuff happen, man, you ain't going to be the same after that. And it's just, it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you ain't supposed to bring no dead body. Like we had a sanctuary, man, we ain't having no funeral in there. I'm not bringing your body in there. That's not happening. You know what I'm talking about? It's not happening. Absolutely not. It's not happening. There's no amount of money anybody could pay. There's no words that anybody could say. I'm not bringing no dead body in here. Absolutely not. Ecclesiastes 7:1.
A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
The day of death better than the day of your birth, because it's over.
Better to go to the house of mourning
than the
house of feasting. That is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart.
The living will lay it to his heart. Now they mentioned that there. Now the house of mourning ain't necessarily where they had a funeral at, but you know what I'm saying? That's a fact, Ernest. Some things do fundamentally change you, that you are not going to be the same person you were before it happened. It's just the reality of life. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that you won't be the same person in this negative. You know what I'm saying? You eating death berries? After I seen what that white lady read them ingredients of them crunch berries over there in Europe, I'll never eat Captain Crunch berries ever again in my life. I can't eat them anyway, but nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? I was disturbed. That lady said they put carrot juice in these. I said, carrot juice? These crackers trying to kill us. That junk was wild, just how she reading this off. Like, they can't use food coloring. She like, yeah, they use carrots for this. When I heard that lady say they use carrots to color the Gatorade, I'm like, damn, but what they using over here?
Oh, that'd be 10 times worse.
He giving a nigga plastic. Remember when Subway got caught for putting using the chemical materials for yogurt mass in the bread? I was like, golly, man. No, it's just
yogurt mass bread.
No, that's what it said. They said the same material that's in yogurt mass it was found in Subway bread. No, they ain't even making real bread. You know why? Because it's gonna spoil too fast. That's why they put all that crap in this stuff, because it's gonna spoil too fast. So they don't want to sell you no real food. You know what I'm saying? You can order some of that stuff from overseas, but you probably gonna get taxed now with them tariffs, though. I just heard Trump say he was gonna raise the tariffs on the people in Canada. He said they were talking greasy. He said, man, your tariffs go up 20%. I said, but that nigga think he a gangster, man. I said, that nigga think he a real deal gangster. With this stuff like that, but don't nobody over here say nothing. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? You saying, no, we ain't eating this no more.